of South Africa. The State of the Youth today is a 3-day festival, and covered on their lineup is a photo exhibition, poetry session and live screening of a short film by Roger Young touching on the subject of the SA youth. Molefi, who is the creative content strategist at Livity Africa and organiser of the VIP Youth Fest, joins us this morning to share some more details about it. Good to have you on the programme. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. So the Youth Festival, it's already begun. It was on the 16th of June, right?
It has, yes.
And how's it going?
I think it's been going great. I think it's been received really well. I think our attendees have found that having a platform, having an opportunity, sort of a space to be able to express and debate very, very openly, particularly in a space where they get to narrate their youth story, has been particularly enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think something that's highly problematic with how we engage with young people in kind of the country today is the fact that often the young person's story isn't narrated by the young person or isn't defined exactly by the young person. And so what we wanted to create with the VIP Youth Fest, was a space where young people could themselves paint a portrait of what the context of being a young person in South Africa today looks like.
Okay, so let's talk about that. I'm dying to hear what's come out of it. How do the youth see it? How are they painting this picture? I
think there are a range of issues, right? There are a range of challenges, there are a range of ideas, there are a range of I think the youth community is massive, first of all, right? And the issue isn't so much that there are such a wide range of issues to take part in. I think the fundamental thing is that young people need a much larger stake in national discourse. Young people need to play a much stronger part in being able to sort of influence what it is that we talk about and the scope of our conversation. Yeah. Anything from race, anything from to unemployment, to issues of identity has been touched on in the debate, and the poetry and the film screenings that we've seen, all created by young people, all reflecting on young people. However, significantly, we need to be able to create platforms that ensure that these ideas and this content and this information reaches a national audience and reaches them really well. And so I think with livevip.co.za, which is ultimately the platform that we're running, which the VIP Youth Fest is relaunching, that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to launch a national platform where young people can find a space where they can voice themselves and reach a mass audience.
Are the youth of today optimistic about tomorrow?
I think young people are not a homogenous group. I think young people, first of all, the largest demographic in the country, and so I wouldn't go as far as to say young people are either hopeful or not so hopeful. I think we have. I think, importantly, we need a space where that can be debated more. You have young people that live in different spaces. We have young people that have access to different kinds of opportunities to others based on any range of issues, based on race, based on gender. And so I think there's so much in there. There's so much to discuss. There's so much to talk about that literally determines whether or not one young person is hopeful about the future versus another person, another young person who might not be. Yeah. And I think having that space where two young people such as those can engage and have that conversation about whether or not South Africa is the kind of place where young people can thrive, again, is the importance of having a platform where young people can engage emphatically, unapologetically, and sort of speak to a national audience. I think there's enough to point out that, yes, there is some hope, but the range of challenges is there, and they're absolutely massive.
Yeah, they're huge, and I suppose it depends on their circumstances as well.
Absolutely,
it depends who you're speaking to.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and again, so it is the youth conversation is in many spaces so fundamentally problematic that we kind of don't appreciate that. We kind of we often look at youth as a single group that behaves in a certain way, that understands their world in a certain way, which isn't in fact often the case. And so I think a better appreciation of, in fact, the power of young people and also the multiplicity of ideas and the multiplicity of circumstances that young people take on is really important if we're really going to understand the state of South African youth today.
Do you think we are a youth nation to be proud of right now? I mean, whenever we And it's very hard to generalize, and that's something that we've realized. But when we look at some of the issues that are in the news, and a lot of the problems associated with it, and I go back to the xenophobic attacks, I go back to a lot of unruly behavior. You see that it comes from the youth of today, trying to let their voices be heard, but perhaps in a violent and an unruly manner. Again, I ask that question. When we look at general and the youth of South Africa, can we be proud of what we see?
If there's anything we can generalize about when it comes to young people, is that young people are always on the periphery of the conversation. So, for example, politics. We often view politics as something that should be the political agenda as something that should be informed by 3 or 4 or 5 politicians who sort of live at the highest level, and that's literally where we engage. So we don't actually often debate or engage with sort of the existing anger or the existing agitations of young people, which are there, but rather young people are expected themselves to respond to an agenda that does not honor their voice. And so you're likely to ultimately get to a place where political expression finds itself in protest, where political expression finds itself in ways that go beyond voice. Because, again, we have a fundamental problem, which is that young people are often on the periphery. I think there's a lot to be proud of as far as South African youth go. And I'd like to challenge, in fact, people in the country to create spaces. And I can assure you also that, much like with the VIP Youth Fest, there are many of my peers who are creating spaces, who are creating platforms to be able to express. And so I'm very, very proud of that. And I challenge the country to engage young people a whole lot more. I certainly do challenge my peers to voice themselves a lot more in far more constructive and imaginative ways. And so I think we'll see a lot more of that as time goes. I
mean, I think the youth of today are unbelievable. Their brains and minds are so far advanced.
Totally.
It's incredible, but we need to use it for the good and using it in the right direction. We talk about the festival. It's the last day of the festival.
Right.
So what's on the agenda today? What's going to be happening?
The defining challenge of our generation, possibly, which is youth unemployment, is the major panel discussion that we're going to have today. We have a panel that ranges with anybody from a young entrepreneur to an advisor in the presidency, to somebody who works in a sort of an education organization, Ikamva Youth. And there's so much that to be spoken about there. Is it possible to create a youth economy? Is it possible to beat youth unemployment? How important is education to beating youth unemployment when you find that many graduates can't find employment actually? And so it's those kind of conversations that we're really looking forward to sort of having. But it is a conversation that is likely to continue. I think we've found at the fest that we often have debates for an hour and a half. Yet you have a lot of hands shooting up and people still wanting to say so much. So I would say even beyond today, engaging with us on the VIP campaign, I think you'll find many of those young people you're speaking about who are very, very capable of shaking up South African politics, who are very, very capable of shaking up the way we see South Africa, who are very, very capable of shaking up, our ability to become a better country, doing so on our platform, on the live VIP.co.za platform. And so,
well, listen, if you are representative of what we've got in the future, I think we're in good hands.
Thank you so much.
And as for your voice, wow. What are we doing? Are we in broad? The two of us should start like a group, and we can both sing on those low.
I'm with it.
Low tenors. Should we do it?
No, I think so. Right?
I think you'll steal a lot of the spotlight, though. Great voice you got there.
Thank you so very much.
It's an absolute pleasure. But it doesn't only sound good, there's good things that come out of it too. So good luck. I wish you all the best. Live VIPYouthFest.co.za.
I'm sorry, that's you can hashtag.
So that's the hashtag.
VIP Youth Fest, yes.
VIP Youth Fest is the hashtag. The website is?
LiveVIP.co.za.
Okay, so not the Youth Fest. LiveVIP.co.za.
Please do join us. And looking forward to having some really great conversations.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being with us here on the program. Lee Molefi, who is the creative content strategist at Livity Africa and organizer of this VIP Youth Fest. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks again, Leah.
All right. So let's take a break. We'll be with you after this. Stay tuned.